Welcome everyone, we are Team Juniper Theory and this is our Capstone project Postmortem. From the start, we knew that we wanted to make a great strategy game. What we didn't know, however, was how far or how much our game would morph into something else entirely.
Juniper Theory is a resource management strategy game. While its current form is much simpler than our original vision, this is not necessarily a bad thing. The current version of the game still contains the core concepts we intended in our original vision, but it is also a more streamlined, shorter, and more fun version of the vision than the first few iterations were.
The first few iterations of our game didn't immediately give a sense of fun, and it was a gradual realization that to make this work, we needed to be a lot more creative with how the player would build, defend, expand, and later attack. The goal in Juniper Theory is to defend, expand, and gain resources for your network. Expanding to other networks requires you to attack defense nodes to make a network vulnerable to expansion. But you will need to compete against an aggressive AI that has the same goal. You have 52 turns to gain as many resources as possible. At the end of 52 turns, the player with the most resource points wins the game.
The player's actions are menu-based. Because the entire game is turn-based, each build order given from the menu takes a set number of turns to build. This both allows and requires the player to plan ahead and strategize, especially when the AI opponent comes into play. Our AI can be quite a challenge the first few times you play the game, but it helps to understand that its actions are not random. The AI has been programmed to perform actions based on optimization of a number of factors, such as current nodes built, what the player has built, and whether or not there are any neutral routers nearby. The more complex the game became during our iterations, the more decisions the AI had to be programmed to make each turn in order to remain competitive with the player's new options.
After consistent file sharing throughout our project, we have all developed new and better habits. The biggest issue we had with the sharing of files was the dreaded metadata. There were a number of times where a team member would upload their changes to Perforce without the metadata being included. The project would work correctly for the team member who tried uploading the changes, but would be broken for all of the other team members. We quickly discovered the importance of checking out and adding all modified files to the change list before submitting.
We also learned more about Unity in general, from prefabbing only certain objects to keeping a UI canvas adaptive to multiple screen resolutions. I think the biggest skill we took from this project was learning how to keep the project light and efficient with not only less impactful graphics, but with how we wrote our code as well. Early on, much of our code was all over the place, with references referencing objects from reference soft links to a prefabbed object into a different scene. Vertical Slice gave us the opportunity to stop and look at some of our processes that were snowballing the game into a lane of bad performance. Sloppy planning and hurry up and finish provided the perfect storm for some of that, and I think we came out the other end knowing what was right about writing code and building a game and what wasn't.
I know this will sound repetitive, but communication is key. In order to have good team chemistry, everyone needs to communicate well in each and every meeting, but not only the meetings. You must be prepared to stay in your Skype or any other form of communication at all times in case something comes up and you are needed, because you never know when that may be.
Directly prior to our vertical slice, we came to the realization that we had a lot of lovely, fully functional tech that did absolutely nothing on a gameplay level. We were at a loss for what to do for about 24 hours. Do we keep iterating on this convoluted system in the hopes that eventually we stumble across the fun, or do we strip it and rebuild from bare bones? We ultimately threw out almost everything. We managed to extract what we believe to be the core themes of our game and use that as a framework for the rest of our development. At several points during development, we discussed the idea of switching to a real-time strategy system as opposed to our final turn-based model. We were interested in capturing the frantic feel of being under attack, but we were ultimately unwilling to sacrifice the thoughtful strategy provided in the turn-based approach.
There wasn't anything wrong with the way the game was, but we just knew that there was room for improvement. The network was a large spiderweb of routers and switches, or nodes, spread across each region, which created a lot of clutter by the end of the game. In order to get rid of a lot of the clutter on the map, we lowered the number of regions and implemented the hex network with one router in each region. We also added the ability to attack the AI and defeat them instead of only defending against them. In other words, our game has evolved to the point where it is completely different from where we had originally envisioned it as, and has become something to be extremely proud of.